for my girls in their 30s and up like me. And this is why I think dating isn't working out for us girls. If you know, you know. So these guys are going on these dating apps and these younger girls are looking fucking fabulous contouring. It's not fair. We didn't have that. We were looking ratchet and we looked young, but these girls look old as hell. So they're going out plowing all of these little chickadees. Well, we get screwed because here's the deal. They don't need to be respected. They don't need to be taken on fancy dinners. They can just go out and pick and choose all these beautiful little girls walking around with their fat asses. Meanwhile, we were waiting, you know, and we've already passed the little host stage. We're not having sex. So we're not putting out, but they are. And these men, why would they want to settle down with us when they can fuck a different girl every fucking night? Men are pigs.
I'm 32 years of age, guys. Believe it or not, yes, I am. I know I don't look like it. But I personally don't take women serious who are 30 years old and older. You want to know why? It's because they got their value up front. All in their teens and 20s, the world was their oyster. They rejected countless men, countless offers, dudes who wanted to wine and dine them, dudes who wanted to really be with them, who was trying to have a family and have something long-term with them. Those same type of women are complaining now that they're in their 30s and 40s, that they're past their prime because they cannot attract the type of guys that they used to. And a guy like myself, I can attract women all in their 20s because I've worked hard, because I put in the time and the energy and understood how to approach women and interact and get what I wanted out of the situation. I had to work. So why would I choose to invest my time and energy and resources into a depreciating asset, into a woman who's 30, who's set in her ways? Why would you do that? See, those type of women, they rejected all types of guys. Trust me, she had her pickings. She probably still has some, but guess what? She wants a certain type of guy, a guy who's going to take her out and wine and dine her. She said, these other guys, they have access to all these younger women, and I'm in my 30s, and I want guys to basically wine and dine me and take me out to eat and do all this stuff like that. See, you ladies want men who have worked hard in their life, who have become successful, who are attractive, the guys that you really want. You want them to pay a premium. You want them to buy you this and do this for you. And you're a used lemon. Kind of checked out her social media a little bit. A good 85 to 90% of her pictures are half naked. So she's talking about she's past her promiscuous phase and I slept around and she did all this stuff like that. Now she wants a man to take her serious. Guys, they want their cake and they want to eat it too. Yeah, they have their phase. Every woman has their phase. But you have to deal with those consequences. And women in their 30s are struggling to find good men. And do you want to know why? It's because they still feel entitled like they did in their best years and when they were in their 20s. They feel as though, I should have this type of guy. I should have this type of guy. They don't understand the sexual market value and how there's always a new, more attractive woman who's turning of age. There's always a better looking woman whose skin is tighter, who looks better, who has a better attitude, who's more trainable, who you can mold as a man. And these women are struggling and they're thinking, well, why aren't guys taking us serious? You know why? Because guys that you wanted, they don't have to take you serious. See, she wants a certain type of guy. She wants a guy who has that chiseled jawline, a guy who's probably 6 feet tall, a guy who's that top 15 to 20%. Most women want that. And they can't get that guy to take them serious because that guy has loads of options because he worked hard to get to a certain place in his life. He made the right decisions, saved his money, built different streams of income, started a business. Now you want that same guy who was doing it all in his 20s, building his life, financially, mentally, physically, getting fit, staying in shape, putting in the work, all in his 20s, while you in your 20s was taking pictures, getting attention, getting free meals, stringing guys along, breaking guys' hearts, do all this stuff like that. You want those same guys to take you serious? See, you have been driven off the lot. And now you want to bring the same car back to the dealership and say, hey, I know this has 75 to 100,000 miles on it, but can I get, the same price in return that I paid for it? You cannot do that. And ladies, you're feeling the effects. Because when you hit 30, most men who are 30 years old, I'm telling you, they're not trying to settle down. They've been through the gauntlet of the game. They understand women. They've gotten flaked on. They got ghosted. They did all these different things. Now they're like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to hang out. I'm just going to focus on myself. I'm just going to, date here and there. I'll hook up, have sex. But I'm not trying to pay for no woman and that's in her 30s, 40s, and 50s. Why would I do that? Why should she have to do that? You see, ladies, and I know that's kind of hard for you to understand because you never had to work for your value. You're just born with it. When you became an adult, you had all these options. You had all these guys. And the guys that really wanted you, you didn't want anything to do with those guys. You're like, well, I look so good. I got this guy throwing himself at me. I got hundreds and hundreds of guys and all these guys on these dating apps. And now you're feeling the effects. Now you understand how it feels to not be wanted and not really be desired by those top 15%, 20% of men. That's how it feels when a woman turns 30 years old. She scratches her head and says, man, why can't I get a boyfriend? Why can't I keep a guy? Why is dating so hard for me? You know why? A big reason is because you don't bring anything to the table. You never really had to. Now, you can fault the simps and the thirsty guys in your good years, but you never had to really work towards anything. You were just giving your value of looks and beauty. And now you're like, well, what do I have to do now? You haven't really worked on any skills. You haven't cultivated anything. This is why as a man, if he hits 30 years old, he has far more value because he's had to learn how to approach women. He's had to learn how to build a business. He has to learn how to save, invest. He had to keep his body tight. He can't be overweight and obese and fatty and pull women like that. He's had to build some charisma. He has to do all these different things. And you want him to say, okay, well, a woman who hasn't had to do any of that, not even 2% of what I had to build and do as a man in my 20s, she hadn't do any of that. Now she wants me to take her on a fancy date, take her to a nice restaurant, do all these different things for her, wine and dine her, court her. Why? I want a woman who's younger, who's in her best years, who I can train and mold. This is why you women in your 30s and older who have hit the wall, who are past your prime, you are struggling. Because you have a crazy sense of entitlement. You're delusional. You don't know your own market value. So now you want to settle down. Now you want a good guy. Now you want a guy who's going to take care of you and start a family and buy you a nice big house and do all this stuff like that. Why should he have to do that? What is he getting out of it? A woman who is, okay, click, I'm ready to settle down. Why didn't you want to settle down in your 20s, in your best years? Why didn't you? Listen, ladies, why don't you find a good man in your 20s? Why do you want a good man when you're past your prime? Why do you do this to yourself? Because men who are in their 30s and 40s, they don't really want a part of that. I'm just keeping 100. I talk to men of all ages, older than me. And they're like, man, I'm not really trying to date like that. Now, if it's easy and it come to me, then, I'll hook up and have sex and do this. But really, relationships or really going ever out, a lot of men are like, why should I do that? I mean, I've been there, done that. I've tried that. So, we can, have some glass of wine and we can hang out at my place. Only thing you're really going to get is hang out, hook up, have sex. And you ladies really wanted this. You wanted your freedom. You wanted to do what you wanted in your 20s and go off to school and travel and sleep around and this and that. Now, when you get to a certain age, that 30 years old, after you've done that, now you want to get mad at the younger girls who are doing the exact same thing that you did. Playing the exact same game that you played. Can't have it both ways. You cannot have your cake and you can't eat it too. You have to pick one or the other. Because ladies, you got about 11, maybe 12 years to have your fun. While men are actually grinding, building themselves up, working hard in their 20s for that 10, 11 years. Then when he hits a certain point, when he starts to take off in the sand and you ladies start to descend, you're like, oh, okay, hey, choose me now. Why? Why would he choose you? What does he get out of that? besides a woman who's already used up, damaged, ran through.